Hey everyone, anyone? This is a wood box I bought at Hobby Lobby or maybe Walmart. I don't know. Maybe it's Walmart. They're like $5. It's a very soft wood. It'd be great for wood burning. Be great for drawing on, or probably a lot of other things. Very thin, lightweight. Very simple little box. I'm going to start drawing today. I haven't really got anything in mind I want to put on this, and that's the joys of my art. I just kind of start drawing, and what I'm going to do is draw in pencil and get a basic idea down, and then I'm going to probably wood burn this in. May use pen, may use wood burning. We'll kind of see how it goes. I've been drawing very small lately, so this will be kind of hard to see it at first. I start with the very small shapes, and if you see, they're kind of like teardrops. Looks like it's having a little problem focusing with my hand going in and out of the frame. Not quite sure what to look at. This is just a test. I'm going to keep working on this since it's just a pencil on wood, and it's just a place to start. Gonna have a whole new show. I've been doing broadcasting on internet radio stations for a couple of years, and I used to scrap out RVs for a living, and I used to have a channel for that called Camper Killer, because I just scrapped out campers. I scrapped out 88 of them in 6 years. See how it kind of caught the grain on that one? You have to kind of watch that. I draw in pen, I draw in ink with a pen commonly. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do today. And this is kind of an old standby that I've been doing for a while now. These shapes, and I love the way it looks, and it's very dramatic when you get a black background put in. These look really intense. They're a lot like they're alive and moving. They're very fluid. Kind of looks like a swarm of fish in the ocean. Maybe a lot of little plants floating in the water, underwater. There isn't any actual movement, but it kind of looks like it's moving. As you can see, I draw a shape and then I draw something else in behind it as I'm moving out. And I try to draw from the center, and you try to make them as random as possible. All kind of the same shape, but generally the same size, and yet, you can draw one that's very sideways, and like that one, and you bring another one where you draw on both sides of it. That one kind of straight. Come over here was an empty spot, put one in, put another one going the other direction. One that kind of fills up the gap in between. It's almost behind the other one. That one kind of straight. There's no set pattern. You just start laying them in. wood is very different than paper. Most paper being made out of wood, and yet it's uniform and precise thickness, and it doesn't have grippy texture like wood does. It is reliable. It performs the same. This stuff, you can have one hard spot, one soft spot right next to each other in the grain of the wood. And it makes it very difficult with ink because the ink will spread out at different rates. You see, I just put one line across there in that area to bridge those two pieces. It would be tapered so small you wouldn't necessarily see the tail on that one. You won't see the tails on all of them, even though sometimes they would be visible. But when you put the black background in a sense, you can have some of them dissolving off into the background, like as if they were swimming straight towards you. You wouldn't see their tail if they were like fish or eels or amoebas or something. I don't know. They're like elongated teardrops, and they are, in a sense, the insides of drawn flames. I started drawing fire when I was 13, and I have put it on about everything at one time or another. And I was looking for other shapes to draw. I've developed my own art over many years, and it's gone through different phases and changes. And this particular shape I've been using now for about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years or longer. And it's not the only thing I draw, although lately that has been that case. But it's fascinating to me what you can do with these. It has such a bold look when you get the background behind it. And wood burning it onto a guitar. I'm doing some wood burnings on just little pieces of wood. Got a lot of different things where I'm using these same shapes. Being that this is a wood box and I want it to look good, I could erase this if I messed it up. I usually draw these right in ink. I don't usually draw a pencil start, but I have not been creating new art for a few months, and sometimes when you're a little out of practice, it doesn't hurt to use the pencil. It'll disappear with the ink lines, or it'll disappear with the wood burning tool. The pencil lines will disappear. You see, there is a small, thin one, a baby one, you could say, almost. Wow, feel that grain there? Grab the pencil lead. I think this is a. Which one is this? Ah, I don't know. I don't remember which one it is. I think it's a 0.5 lead in this. It's small, and I use a 0.05 in the ink pens. I use microns, and this is a micron 0.05. with a very small tip. This one's kind of wore down. I don't know if you can tell, I have rather large, meaty hands, and I have a tendency to push the felt piece that is used to distribute the ink on the end. I have a tendency to push those in, even though I have a very light touch. I do have large, meaty hands that just work against me when it comes to the pen tips. I had contacted the company that owns Microns. I cannot remember the name right offhand. But I had complained to them that I had all these pens that still had ink in them, but that the tips were not working anymore. They said, well, you may be pressing too hard, but since we would like to know whether our pen is defective or if it's you that is causing the damage or if the pen's defective, they said, please send us those pens. We will take a look at them and make a determination on what's going on. So I picked up all of my 005s and put them in a package and sent them. I got a response saying we didn't understand exactly how many of these pens you were talking about, which it ended up sending 44 of them. They usually cost about $4 a piece. They said, we have looked at your collection of pens and we have determined that you're pressing too hard and you're pushing the felt piece up inside the pen, and that please do not send us any more of your damaged pens because we won't do anything with them. But due to your large quantity of pens that you have bought from us, we have decided to replace those this time only. And they sent me a large assortment equivalent. They said we will replace the pens and the cost of the postage to us. So I think they sent about 48 to 50 pens. I don't remember exactly. This was 15 years ago. And we appreciate your purchase of our pens and our products, and please push lighter on them so they last longer. And that's all we can do for you. And they sent those to me, and they sent me all the different sizes that they carry. I wish they would have sent just 005s because that's the ones I go through the most. But, beggars can't be choosers, right? As the saying goes. All right. That is looking pretty good. Let me get my hands out of the way and see if it will focus. This lighting makes my hands look terrible. We'll continue putting a few more shapes in here. You don't want to work just one area. You never want to try to, I don't know, you have to be careful as you put the shapes in that you don't get any that look too much the same. And you can't really spend a lot of time in trying to figure out how many of those shapes you've used. You just try to look at the ones that are right around it and make different shapes, even though it's the same shape. but make a variety of those shapes. And it's this thing called randomness is hard to do, and I have struggled for years to maintain randomness in my drawings. And I don't know if you notice, I flip my pencil around and I'm using the other side of the lead, which makes it a very fine chisel tip for a little bit, but it also grabs the grain, and you have to just work through that. There's no way to really get it. Well, I mean, I could put it on a piece of paper and dull the tip, but I like those fine lines. It gives us a variety of thicknesses of the lines without being terribly noticeable. You don't want to make it too different. You want these all to kind of look like they're coming from the same place, heading to the same place, the same little thing, whatever it is. I don't know what they are, so I don't know what to call them. Let's call them elongated teardrops. And they all roll down the same face. Not my face. I don't cry much. Almost never. Wonder if that helps or hurts a person. Crying seems to be beneficial in some ways, but is seen as a weakness by some. I hear women say that they want a man to be able to cry. Doesn't mean they want to hear him cry. And in my own world, they seem to make me want to cry, but then I refuse to. So it's not really like, I've been single for a long time. I'm what they call happily single. Kind of funny. See that little, drop that little one in there? It was kind of nice right in behind. I filled that a little gap there, and it looked just perfect. I love how it popped in there. Bob Ross would say a happy accident, but not quite an accident. It's just sometimes the choice of shape, where you put it and how you put it in there, it just makes you feel good. You're like, yes, that's what I was intending. As you can see, I move pretty quick. I try to keep it very random. You got a bunch of them all heading in one direction, then you take one and you turn it out here and basically go the opposite direction, and you put one other direction from that one, and you put a couple side by side go in the same direction, then you pull one across, bisecting the other two, which makes it really interesting. Fill that gap. Looks like a big V, so you just stick one in there, put one behind it to fill that space. Yeah. Look at that one. Turn that one. Comes clear around the corner there. Moves right in. Okay, I rotated my pencil just ever so slightly. Give me a little more grip there. Gotta adapt to that. In this new series I'm putting together, I'm going to be trying to set it up to where I can broadcast on Twitch. And I'm going to try to broadcast on Rumble. And I'm going to make YouTube videos. And maybe make some edited short versions of this, like time lapse, and put it on Instagram, Facebook. Try to reach as many people as I can. You see that one is kind of messed up because the pencil was gripping the wood. So I'm just going to put one in there like it's tucked in behind here, and then cut one across. Make that look like it was not a problem area, even though it was. What I would recommend if you're a young person and you're listening to this, you should learn that doing this kind of work that's tedious and difficult in its own way may be easy. This would be easy for you. It's hard to say. Everybody has different levels of talent and ability. And if this is difficult, overcoming the difficulty is what life is glorious at, allowing a person to keep persevering, to keep trying until they achieve the goal they want to achieve. Not everybody does everything wonderful from the beginning. I imagine there's some people out there that don't do anything well, even with a fair amount of practice. Sometimes you try the wrong thing, and it's just not your thing. Now, I have several guitars off to the left of me, and I have several more in the other room, and I, as of yet, have not learned to play the guitar. I've not spent much time trying to play the guitar, but a little bit. And it's tedious and it's difficult. And I may or may not persevere in learning to play the guitar. But I, right now, am willing to try. This is coming along swimmingly. Interesting term. You get a nice wide variety of shapes. Look at the big fat one right there, kind of hiding mostly behind the other one. We do not care if they are all skinny little shapes or some big fat ones or dark or light or twisty or bendy or straight or anything. You can do anything on here. Anything's acceptable, as long as it stays with the general motif that I'm trying to achieve. That is really pretty. By the way, this spot here is a dark spot in the wood, and we will try to incorporate that into the picture. There's another one right here in the corner, and we will try to get that one in there as well. But you work with what you have. Natural products have natural defects. I do make mistakes. Some things can always be better. Not a lot of times, because of the background that I put on this, which is just solid black, whether it's in ink or being burnt in. It's that background allows me to adjust these shapes as I'm doing that black background. I can basically hide an error if I get something that's so horrendous. That I can't live with it. I can then wipe it out when I'm doing the black background. Now I have two of these boxes, and I may do one in ink, and I may do one wood burning. The wood burning does give it some texture, but the clean lines and the solid black background probably shows up better in the ink art than the burning. And you can use the burning tools to make a brown. Instead of a solid black burn, you can make it brown and make it look half burnt, and therefore almost another color because it is brown instead of black. So then you would have the light brown wood, the dark brown coloring, and the black. So theoretically, you have 3 colors and many shades in between if you can control the heat, which I am not extremely practiced in, but do pretty well. I do not have any. Well, I do have one that has this type of a picture on it, partially done. I don't have it right here with me, so maybe we'll show that if we do another one on this as we continue this, whether we ink like or burn. I would imagine this one's going to be ink though, just because I kind of like to draw the shapes with the burner instead of pencil or pen and then burn it. I kind of headed out for a ways over on this side, and I will try to balance this thing out a little bit. That's a nice straight one. Look at that long straight one. You can do that. You can do whatever you want. And then you can put a little one behind it, put a curved one in, push another straight one there, curved one there, curve the other way, coming out from behind, go on both sides of that one, fill the gap off the corner, other direction, the other direction, come from behind, fill the gap in one behind, catch the edge, fill that one in, make a little short one there, tiny one, put a big one next to it, come from behind, go the opposite direction and behind, long straight one, partially hidden, beautiful. A bit of a line here. You don't want to get too much of a line. You want to make them look random, like they're coming out at different distances, at different directions. However, it doesn't do any good to make one that's right on the end, just a circle. That doesn't appeal to the eye. When all these, it's like, think of these like they all saw you when they were coming through this spot, and then they turned and started heading in different directions because you were there. I guess that would be what I'm trying to achieve ultimately. I really wasn't sure I was going to draw tonight. I was thinking of just making settings. I'm trying to figure out if I have an account on Twitch, but I may not have activated something to where I can hook a camera to it, or like an encoder or something. And I haven't been able to find out that by what I've been reading. I haven't seen that yet, where it says I need to pay money to encode. Are they collecting money on that? If so, I probably won't be doing Twitch. I would like to, but here I am on YouTube, and I'm broadcasting this live. So ultimately, that would be the goal I'm looking for. Now, I don't know when I get done with this what else I'll be able to do with it. Hopefully it's recording, and I'll have it to where I can do a time lapse, maybe, so I can show all this in just a minute or two. And then first time I've had to add pencil lead to that initial showing of lead that when I started drawing. So that's the first time I've added to the pencil's lead length. That's a lot of lines for just one push of the pencil lead advancement. I'm pretty happy. I've done the shape so many thousands of times in different shapes and sizes, and it's very monotonous, slow work. And if your style changes while you're working, they become bigger, shorter, longer, fatter, or something. It does add to the randomness of the drawing, but you can't go too far with it. Still keep it a little in check, even if you're just letting it take off and flow. There is no right or wrong, really. I mean, some things look better and some things look worse. But you kind of do whatever you want. You put that sharp pencil edge on it, and boy, it's kind of noisy, isn't it? Probably be quieter if I open the box. These were kind of fat penciled. They weren't as chiseled as the other ones. Will disappear with the ink pen when I retrace these with the ink, because of the pen doesn't have a thickness and thinness to it like the pencil does. So I've been going to this coffee shop in Greeley, Colorado. That's where I'm located. And I'm needing to wean myself from that and not spend so much time there. Also, I would not want to set up all this equipment at a coffee shop. It'd take a long time. And they're too noisy. And I do have to do this around my work schedule, which is very weird. I usually know a day ahead of or so of when I'm going to be working, but it can change at any time pretty much. So it'll be relatively hard to make a schedule, but I will do my best if this takes off to where you can possibly log in and see me draw every day a little bit. Or you can go see the videos if I've already put them out earlier in the day or something, I suppose. If I can get this to pay for itself and I don't have to go drive for a living, then I will gladly do that, because I am tired of that. But I have a long ways to go till I can make doing this, doing what I make in my regular life. Although making money off of art would be an amazing accomplishment. I have thousands of hours of drawing. It's been very therapeutic for me, as we'll discuss in later things about my life and stuff. But the art has always been there for me as a release. Help you get through the day type thing. See, that one's just a base. It would have ended right up here. It would be behind this one. So we don't make it stick out the other end. It would be too long and it would not look right. Should we do a little ink? I'm thinking we should give an example of drawing these in ink and then maybe putting in some black background, which just makes it pop so much. Sometimes when you draw on art pictures, the beginning is so hideous that you think you'll never make a good looking piece of art out of the start of the picture. Other things kind of give you a good feeling right away. Now, the box does open this way. We're close to the center, but we're not exact, and that's fine. The randomness of life doesn't always start from the very center, but it does. Wow, it does look nice. All right, we'll get out of. Like I say, this pen is pretty used. Let's see if I can see this good enough. I think it's harder to trace these than it is to draw them. I don't know if you can see any difference there. The camera's having difficulties. So as an example, I'm going to put in a little black background. Okay, I'm going to, let's see what else we got here. This is 003. It is well used. Got a little ink flowing there. This is almost small enough that I need to get my magnifying glass. until I get quiet when I'm working hard here. Can't believe we're already 43 minutes in. Kind of amazing how fast the time goes. So I can use the background to redefine the taper on the elongated tail of these droplets. I make that pull through and connect as needed where they thin down and then disappear. Yeah. Perfection is unattainable. Really, what we're looking for is lines that please the eye. They don't have to be perfect. Almost nothing in nature is perfect. A wide degree of variations on a theme. You can go crazy or crazier, trying for perfection. Some people thrive on it. Most people, it just pushes them away from their happiness, I guess. Strive for perfection, but understand it when is it good enough? When is it not good enough? You need to try harder. And that is the question. Fascinating. It is a fascinating look this thing has. Very nice. If any of you ever see this are from Florida, this was made right after Ian, Hurricane Ian, came ashore yesterday or day before yesterday, something like that, and wreaked its havoc along the state of Florida. And I hope you got through it untouched. If you did lose a lot, I hope you bounce back quickly. And remember, you are not your stuff. You are beyond your stuff. You're better than that, better than your stuff. And everything can be replaced, but you. This is it's a precise, extra fine rolling ball. And it seems to be handling the wood texture better, although it's a little heavy lined. But it's rolling over the grain better. And sometimes that is better than a thin line, to have an accurate line, I guess. Sometimes it's your picture. You can do any way you want to. We'll be showing you some previous pictures I've drawn. I'm going to do a little show on those. I'm trying to find my Steadicam weighted camera rest type thing. And if I can find that, I will be able to smooth up the videoing of my art. Hopefully, it's somewhere in the other room in a huge pile of stuff. I saw it not too long ago. I just can't remember where. I have about 55 18 by 24 posters that I've created. And another 15, probably beyond that, of the previous style that I was doing. Not near as good as the last stuff that I was drawing. For a few years there, I put out a tremendous amount of art, and I just recently got it colored. And then nearing the end of that process, I came across some colored pencils that were not as expensive as Prismacolors, or whatever they're called, and but they're beautiful and vibrant, and they shade so well. And I have really fallen for those pencils. And I'm thinking of redoing some of my art that I just recently did with those new colors. Unfortunately, the camera so far, in trying to show this recently colored art, does not do it any justice whatsoever. Very sad. It washes out the color horribly. So I'm going to have to try to find better ways of lighting my art, especially as I'm doing this live. Black and white is not even that great. It looks a little out of focus. And this webcam is very limited on a way of mounting it right now. I'm going to have to create a new mount for that. I already have a camera set up, which is actually over the top of the webcam right now, but it's not turned on. I wasn't concerned with recording this since it was doing it live. And I believe it's recording it for YouTube. But we shall see in the end. I know I can keep it. So if I can keep it, then it must be recording it. We're at 53 minutes. I'm going to just go till the hour mark, and we will call quits tonight on that as a hell of a test run. It's weird not talking to anybody and yet talking to everyone. No one's in here with me, in the room with me. Why would they? I'm sure it's hard to be found in here. And yet, I'm talking like there's somebody here. Now, I'm kind of used to doing that because I broadcast music on internet radio stations, or at least I was. I recently quit. I was burning out. Job was too hectic and shows were too mundane. Same thing over and over, basically. I just couldn't come up with any way to make them special, and it just was not working for me. This has the same problem, that other than I'll be just doing more pictures and I'll be creating things that will endure a lot more than a radio show will. And that endurance, something that will last, is interesting to me. I will have the artwork at the end of it. It's like a big prize. Maybe someone would fall in love with it and want to buy it for real money. Most of my pictures take about 100 hours to draw. And That's a lot of 2 to 6 hours long segments for someone to see this come to fruition, see it finalized, and then that's just a black and white drawing, and then you still need to color it. But I may do more, projects like this where it's a small piece of wood, and it still takes a certain amount of time to draw and color or whatever I choose to do, but it wouldn't be as long as doing a full poster. There's a big black area right there, huh? All right. You can kind of see what it's doing here. I do draw these a little better pulling down instead of pulling up or sideways. I think it's a natural thing. Yeah, that's why rotating the picture when you can is advantageous to helping you draw at your best. You need to either learn to not need to turn it or you need to turn it. Now, I did tattooing for many years, and you could not turn the person very well. So you had to turn yourself into a little bit of a pretzel to achieve the angle that you needed to do the work. Not easy to do, I will guarantee you. I would be so sore at the end of a long tattoo session from contorting my body into different ways to make the work. Make the work. That one was straight all the way through, and I just tapered it when I redrew it so that it looked thin and sexy. And you might wonder why I say sexy, but that shape pulling over that edge like I did right there, pulling that edge right there would be like drawing the legs or the hips on a woman, a shapely woman. And that's why I say it's sexy. is because it's similar to a body part. Not the same as a body part, but similar. I do not draw beautiful women, but I am inspired by beautiful women. And I'm not being sexist or anything. The female anatomy, being a male, that's why we draw on men have drawn on caves forever, because of the admiration for beautiful women. Not being judgmental, not. I mean, basically, there's somebody out there for everybody. But the classic notion of beauty, the symmetry of a person's face, is undeniable. And although many gender studies people will say that is wrong, I don't get it. Beauty is beauty. You can look at a flower that is precise in its petals and how it lays and points towards the sun and collects light, and you can say that's a beautiful rose or a beautiful flower. And you're not judging it. You're not saying it's less than or better than anything. You're just saying it's beautiful. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And if you're beholding a flower or a person or whatever, you're not saying someone else is ugly just because you're saying this is beautiful. It is just what it is. You can deny it to yourself, but you can look at a flower and say, that's beautiful. Or a mountain, or a sunset, or anything. There's beauty in everything. There's ugliness everywhere. That is true too. Some people are ugly by what they say or how they say it. They could be the good looking physical features, and if nastiness comes out of their mouth, they're still ugly. They have the right to say it. I'm not saying they don't have a right to speak. I have the right to say my side of it too. It isn't hate speech. It's just the truth, according to how I see it. Each person holds their own truth. Most things have a, let's say, common truth. What one person finds beautiful, most people find beautiful. The problem is that if that person, if looking at it too, has hatred and malice in their heart, they'll never see the beauty, and they will condemn you if you see it, especially if you talk about it. They don't have a clue what you're talking about. They can't see the beauty. Therefore, you're a liar in their eyes. It'd be sad not to see the beauty. I don't always see it, and it is sad when I don't. I'm old and jaded. I'll probably listen to this later and say, what the hell are you talking about? Well, now that I know I can broadcast on YouTube, I will complete making a new channel. So future videos will not be on this, where I'm broadcasting right now, but will be on a new place. And will probably have something to do with the way of 618 or the Tao of 618. Just so you know. Well, look at that. That's a nice little start. I have gone over my hour mark, so I'm going to get out of here. Well, I'll see you all later.